Yeah, this is the first big box expansion called Under the Dark Waves. Adds a bunch of new characters, some new locations, uh, generally more content, which is what expansion should be doing. Um, there's your set icon. Not mix the event cards into the encounter decks. You're gonna get a bunch of different stuff. There's 2 new locations. There's some extra new stuff. There's some travel routes. We got 8 new investigators to play as. 4 more scenarios. Bunch of new cards to go with all that stuff. And like the first video for the base game is, I'll go through the investigator cards. I'll go through like the items and the spells and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go through every individual like event and encounter, like all these archive cards and stuff like that, because they have because they have a ton of text on them, and if I go through every single card, this is going to be a super long ass video, especially if I sit there and read everyone. 2 is because it's spoilers. This game is very story driven. So I don't want to sit there and go through and spoil everything for you. I'd rather, if you're going to play the game, you can buy it and play it. But at least I'll show off like 1 or 2 cards. You can kind of see what they are. But again, I'm not going to read through all of them. If it's something you would be interested in, seeing all the different cards, seeing every piece of content, let me know in the comments. And then maybe I can make one of those at some point. Yeah, she got 2 new tiles. Just kind of skim. I always like to skim through the book a little bit. Some mysteries. So we have new type of card. We have terror icons. Go with all the rest of our nastiness that's going after us. Add some different effects there. Some new keywords. Attachments and counter abilities. Double-sided cards. Event decks. Just a bunch of different stuff for the game. There's game modes, there's some challenging, inevitable modes. And then your quick reference guide. A couple different route types. And what the new stuff is. And there's all the awesome people that worked on the game. Alright, so let's actually just jump in and look at some of this stuff. So first off, we have the Innsmouth Village, which has First National Grocery, Innsmouth Jail, and the Esoteric Order of Dagon. And we'll flip that one over. We're going to get Central Kingsport. So we have Neil's Curiosity Shop, the Hall School, and the Congressional Hospital. A couple of new locations there. And we're also going to get Kingsport Harbor. So we have North Point Lighthouse, Rope and Anchor, and Sir Emeritus's house. On the flip side, we get Innsmouth Shore, which has Falcon Point, Marsh Refinery, and Gilman House. So that's 4 brand new locations. So basically, so it's short, more or less, you can play as either you're doing the Innsmouth extra stuff, or you're doing the Harbor extra, the Kingsport extra stuff. Is what you're getting. So it's sort of like 2 different areas. Alright, let's look at our brand new investigators. Let's start off here. Good old Ashcan Pete, the Drifter. Got subbing health 5 brain. So little dog Duke there. Like the other video, I'm not going to read through every single part of this again. It's just, it would take me too long to sit here and read all of this. I mean, I can hold it up and pause the video, read it if you want. Oh, but he's a survivor type. Got a couple different stuff. We have Carlson Sinclair, the Butler, who's 6 and 6. Got pretty down the road stats. He's a seeker and a survivor. Let's see if I can adjust this. There we go, a little bit better. Trying a new lighting system, so apologize for some of the odd glares and everything. We got Charlie King, the politician. Did some extra stuff with money. You can see that he has very low health, but he has lots of brain power. He has sanity. Definitely he's going to get some stuff done that way. He's a rogue and a seeker, and the rogue says, Charlie has a way with people. If you careful words, you can find your way through most obstacles and have a helpful assistant on hand. All about being a politician and speaking his way through stuff. So then we have Father Mateo, the priest. He's a mystic and a guardian. We got Patrice Hathaway, the violinist. He's a mystic and a seeker. And they recommend when you play this multiple people is try and pick some different class points. We got Silas Marsh, the sailor, who goes great with the Kingsport. You can see he has lots of health. He's a survivor and a rogue. As a rogue, it says Silas lineage shares a dark connection with the creatures of the mythos. You have unparalleled ability to predict and control the monsters that plague you. Definitely interesting. We got Stella Clark, the letter carrier. He's just a survivor. And finally, we have Zoe Samaras, the chef, who has a bloody knife. And so her stats are a little differentiating. Oops. And she's a guardian and a mystic. Alright, then we got a couple of stories. So we have our scenarios. We have the Tyrants of Ruin, with Mother Hydra and Father Dagon. It's going to show all your different areas. And now this is kind of... Oop, I knocked it over. Neat how the map works on here. So you're going to have some of your original town places here. Your bridge and forest, walkways and stuff. There on the edge here, they have these pathways that connect to each other. So you can leave through one or the other and go to Innsmouth Village. Or you can take the port and go to the other port. So it's kind of a different way to get around. And then up here is actually Devil's Reef, which is a special area. It shows all your different stuff you're going to get. More Codex Cards. Alright. Then for something a little bit different, we have the Pale Lantern. We have a creepy party. The Lantern Club. And you get the same thing there. They're going to have this is where you're going to get the Kingsport. And a couple different ways. So they connect that way. The pathways connect that way. There's a strange house over here. This is kind of a neat way to add some extra content. We're going to get If Equals Children. Big giant snow monster. This one actually has two different locations that are separate, which is kind of cool. Just some different ways to get around. And finally we have the Dreams of Rayleigh. The Dreams of Rayleigh, sorry. And that's just actually has for the regular ones. It doesn't have any of the special new areas. Just kind of cool, so you get some different stuff. But here it says, set aside Kingsmouth and Kingport neighbors, childhoods, and events. So it probably means they're going to come up at some point. Like something's probably going to open up like a realm to those. And then let's look at those tiles here quick, since we didn't do those. So we're going to get, whoops, we're going to get the Devil's Reef. And on the opposite of that is a strange high house. So we're going to be kind of Kingsport and Innsmouth. We're going to use one of those at a time. But then we're going to have our different locations. So we have our boats for harbor. And we have our crossroads. And actually, you're going to get a bunch of those. And then we're going to have the railroad. We got 4 railroads, and on the back is just more driving path or boats, depending on which ones they are. Just some other different ways to travel between locations. It's definitely cool. Before we get to any of the cards, we're going to look at some of the tokens here. So, we got all our new character tokens. For all the different new investigators. We get a handful of all the new monster ones. We have small ones and large ones. Oop. And we got a bunch more new bunch of extra tokens for dooming and clues, just in case you needed more. And a few extra, like, regular tokens to throw in the bag with different symbols on them for various things. Some bag ones. Another blank one. Just some more of the bigger ones. Just why not add some more bag stuff in there? And of course, a couple for these guys. You can see, we got a bunch of different ones. I have a little container here. Alright, let's look at some of the cards. We're going to look at the item cards and, well, the personal investigator cards first, and then we'll get into all the different extra ones. So start off with Little Ashcan Pete the Drifter. And he's going to get his Duke, his faithful hound. He's got a guitar. He's got a talent for Wanderer. And now we have the Butler, Carlson Sinclair. Gonna have Anticipation, As You Wish, Prepared for Anything, and this is now Charlie Kane, the politician. He's gonna get an ally himself, Bonnie Walsh, his faithful assistant. And call in some favors, get some kind of a job right away. A Voice of Authority. Father Mateo, the priest. Gets Hold Back Darkness. Of course, he gets some holy water. And Signum Crucis. And then if we jump into Patrice Hathaway, the violinist. Got Captivating Melody, because that's why I want to fight that big giant thing, is the violinist to come rescue me. The Ominous Dreams. And then she's got her signature violin. And then she got a special card here. So this is called the Watcher. It's a condition. It's also a monster. It's an unholy presence. And you can flip it to the other side. It spawns at her side. So that's kind of interesting. If she gets a special monster card. Then we have Silas Marsh. It's an adventurous spirit. Gonna get a fishing net. And then a flannel shirt. Because, why not make sure the guy has a shirt on? Stella Clark, the letter carrier. Called by the Mists. She's got her delivery truck. And Snow Nor Rain. And then finally, we have Zoe Samaras, the chef. She's gonna get her chef's knife. And then she can enchant her weapon. And she's also got Zoe's Cross. So these are all your signatures. Some of them they start with, some are optional. They can choose to get them or choose not to get them. Or they have to choose which ones to get. Alright, so we're going to have a couple of allies here. So allies are blue cards. These are items that you can get throughout the game. So we have Prudence Douglas, the Pragmatic Occultist. And Turing Gaharaba, the Visiting Lecturer. We're going to get some common items, such as the baseball bat, the encyclopedia. I love this one. Ground pepper, instead of calling it, dirt. And a healing elixir. And then we got a couple of spells. So not as many of this as there are in the base set for items, but that's fine because it's an expansion. It's just to add some stuff. But we're also going to get Astral Projection. And then Hunter's Insight. But those are ones like you set aside. You can go to like a store and buy. And then we have the special orange ones, which are like event kind of items and stuff. So there are a bunch of different things here. So we're going to get Death, the tarot card. The Evans Hall Journal. So here we have a talent, Eye for Appraisal, Kingsport Reputation. So it's probably one you can only use in Kingsport. The Four of Cups Tarot card. Friend of a Friend. The Golden Crown. A Harpoon. Hotel Porter. Got an ally called Unsuk, Keeper of Paths. Kerosene. Another ally, Lonnie Ritter, the feisty mechanic. We have a Lucky Coin. Stranger's Contract. Yeah, that doesn't seem sketchy at all. And finally, we have Twisted Flesh. It's probably not one you maybe want, but you might get it. Alright, so a couple other things we got before we get to some items. We have a brand new condition, so there's a bunch of these. So this is Tainted. This bad thing that can kind of happen to you. And then we have two new dark packs, which are either Grim Spectre, which is a phantom that's following you, or a Virulent Plague. Kind of like that, like the mystery of what one you're going to get. Alright, and then we got a bunch of monsters. So the monsters all have a black side, just kind of just showing where they spawn at, how they move. And then the other side, which I want to show off, which is the white side, which is the one that has all the stats and stuff on there. So we have Terrified Wanderer, a Dreaming Human. We got a couple of those. We have a Swooping Scavenger, which is a Bakahi, like bird demons. The Prowling Abductor, a human occultist. A couple of those. We have a Pale Lord, which is a moon beast. Icebound Captive, human thrall. A couple of those. A Hovering Bakahi. You know, a little bit closer look at one of those. A Guardian Beast, a Shakang Saboteur, which is a massive, so he attacks everybody. Frenzied Hunter, which is a deep one, which are like the water creatures. Feasting Master, which is a moon beast. Entranced Hybrid, Dreaming Deep one. Enraged Dreamer, a Dreaming Human. Couple of those. A Dread Shadow, a Shatank Saboteur. Declan Pierce, a human cultist. That sounds very specific on who he is. A Cruel Slaver, another Moon Beast. Cantor of Relay, Starspawn. A Cursed Somnambulist, Dreaming Human. And we got 2 of those. Alright, so that is all of our tiny cards. Alright, then we have our, now we're getting into our spoilery cards, so just a little heads up there. So these are your different locations. These are, some old, some new, so I have like Kingsport Harbor and Innsmouth Village, which are all new ones, but we also had Southside, Rivertown, Miskatonic. Because these are all ones related to the campaign, so if you're playing one of the scenarios, they're going to use these locations. And these would be the ones that will show their different encounters down there. So if you're playing like Dreams of Relay, you're going to use this set. Or if you're using, I guess these are all Dreams of Relay for this particular set. But yeah, then this will be like show off your different areas. So if we're in the Central Kingsport, you have to draw this card for that event or event encounter. It'll tell you what to do on here, and it'll give you different things. Each one has different effects. Some have more symbols than the other. Different tests, checking like different things. Yeah, but it's really fun because it gives you all these different random stuff for each one of what you are having to do. So then we probably have all the other event ones over here. Yeah. I'm sorted weird in the box. Yeah, so here's some more. There's just 32 of them. So that's definitely fun. 32 different cards you're going to have to draw. Like, I don't know how many you're going to generally draw per game. But the fact is you have 32 different cards means that you could probably play each scenario, like, I'd say 2 or 3 times and get different results every time. Because even if you get the same card, you might not be in the same location each time. So then you're just going to have for the other events, it's going to go through the same areas. Depending on what, like this one has added uptown in there. This one added downtown, south side. So yep, just your different events down there. It's 24 for Equith's Children. 24 for the Pale Lantern. And 24 for Tyrants of Ruin. So that is this big giant stack of all these brand new encounter cards. You're gonna get a bunch more other ones with the backs on them. Just a few more for each one. And these are just your general location cards. So they're for every single area in the game. A couple for each. The new travel routes. So there's a little bit more for that. And there's some for the Strange High House. And Devil's Wreath. Bunch more for each of the new areas like Kingport, Innsmouth, and the Shore. And these are just other ones. They're similar things. They're going to have the same type of stuff. But if you're interacting at that area, this is what's going on. Instead of it being an encounter, like necessarily something bad or plot related, these are just, you're talking to the people in town, trying to find out what's going on or search for clues as to what you should be doing next. But I love that they add some new ones for the old sets too. So that way at least, hey, here's some extra bonus for playing those. Alright. Then we also have some special encounter decks for different stuff. And these are just ones that, like, kind of like alternate area things you can go to. So this is Visions of the Moon. And there's going to be 12 of those. And they'll have different things when you have to draw these depending on what scenario you're playing. Each one has one different deck. And if you draw these, they have different effects based on how much doom is around. We have Feeding Frenzy, which has some deep ones on the back. We get the Frozen City. There's some people in Frost. So I think there's just the 3 of them instead of 4. So one of the scenarios must not include those. Probably the one that has the more things. And then we're going to get our new headlines. So headlines are various reports. I love the fact that on these, though, they just continue the numbers. So instead of it being like, oh, it's this set number 1, they don't have to try and explain to you what set. They can just tell you, hey, pull card number 12. And it's not, oh, pull card 12 from this set or pull card 12 from this set. They just continue the numbers along. But we got a couple more different headlines, which are usually bad stuff that's going to happen to you. And then the last final big giant deck here. These are the rest of your encounters and stuff, your Codex cards that will come through. And you saw in some of the some of the decks here, not the decks, the scenario cards. So like this one for Dreams of Wrath, they'll say start with card number 1, 106, and 107. So card 1's from the base set, 106 and 107 for this. And it also says shuffle cards 117 through 120 and set them aside. So that's where you find these cards in here. So like here's 106. It starts off that particular story, and it helps you. And then the next one's 107. And then it's how you find out how your story goes. Because again, like I said in the first video, you don't know what your actual story is going to be until you start playing. And you get some like this. It's going to do some different stuff. Add Innsmouth, Shore and Village to the game. Add those two. So a couple different ones like that. Yeah, so this is basically, it changes up the game. So you're finding out how you're supposed to win. And what's coming at you. You get like number 104 here is the Wendigo. It's a spirit thrall, so you get a big giant monster to fight. Or we get Equitha himself, or itself. 8 plus health, minus 3 to attacking it. So here's going to be some of the bad guys for the Lantern. So the Bloodless Man. And we also have the Pale Lantern. It's just a giant item. Has some other effects on the back. You got Headdress, you got Deep One Relic, Wave-Worn Idol, Awakened Mantle. Interesting stuff there. And then finally, the big bosses of the game. We have Mother Hydra and Father Dagon. These are the last two that the like big bosses are on the cover and everything. There are their stats. Massive, Elite 3, Pursuit. It might not seem so terrible, maybe compared to some of the other ones, except for I think you're probably going to have to fight them at the same time. Which is what would make them terrifying. Alright, so again, I didn't want to go through all them cards and show up every single thing because I don't want to spoil everything for you if you want to buy the game. But yeah, if it's something you're interested, let me know. I can always do a video showing off all of them. Take a little bit longer to go through. I don't know if I'll read through every single card. I might just have to sit there and show them, because it might take me forever. I might round up voice reading through all of them, because, you know, you try reading it, little tiny paragraphs on every one of these cards and see how much voice you have left. But, you know, that's what we got. So, yeah, that's the second the first big box expansion. There's more coming. Check out the base game if you want some more information on that. See you guys later. Bye.